Welcome to Conversations with Dr. Harriet and our special guest, Kimberly Stewart-Horan. How are you?
Hi, I'm wonderful. How are you?
I am good, thank you. Thank you for
Great.
taking time out of your busy schedule to join us right here on Conversations with Dr. Harriet, right here on the Power Network. So, I want to get right to it because I'm so excited about our the show today. We're going to be talking about your amazing career. We're going to be talking about some of the things that you've been through. And so, before we go on, just tell us a little bit about yourself, so to share with our viewers.
As you said, my name's Kimberly Boston Stewart Horan, and I say the Boston because I was born and raised right here in Central Florida. My family and most of my friends are still live in the Oviedo area, so most of them know me as Kimberly Boston. I am the mother of two wonderful children. I have a daughter, Lindsay, and a son, Gavin.
Okay, wonderful. So you are the Division Chief of Communications for Orange County Fire and Rescue. That is so amazing. And right here, on Women, it's Women's History Month. And by the time this airs, we will be out of Women's History Month, which is March. But we are celebrating amazing women like you all year round. So thank you again for being with us. So tell us about being a fire chief. How did you come into that? What made you get into that field?
Well, actually, just getting into the field itself, I usually explain that as one of the best things that ever fell into my lap. I took this route that was very unusual. As a little girl, I always wanted to be a teacher. That was my love, and I still love teaching. I love that connection with people. So one day I was going to class, and the class was canceled. And I thought, man, I have a lot of time. What could I do at that time? So I went and I applied for a job because I don't know why I wanted a job at that time, but I did. I was anxious to make my own money. And I happened to get hired by Orange County government. That particular job, though, was as a clerk for animal services at the time, which I loved because it was, just something to do while I was going to school. Well, I happened to, one of my coworkers, I should say, saw that there was an opening with the fire department. And she says, I think you would be good at that. I thought, okay. So I applied, but everybody told me, in the office, you apply for the first thing and you won't get it. You can apply for several years. And I happened to get the job with the department, and I have been there ever since. I really didn't know what I was getting into, but I fell in love with it. Absolutely fell in love. And so 32 plus years later, here I am.
Wow, 32 plus years. So, I know being a female and African American female, how was that? How were you received coming into that position once you got? I know you had to take some steps to get there, but once you got there, how were you received?
And my position is an appointed position. So I was appointed by our mayor, Teresa Jacobs, back in 2015. So you don't really, your coworkers, I should say, don't really get a chance to prepare for it because it's not like you are, applying for a promotion. So I was appointed to that position. And I have to say that although I had spent some time, within the department and I think had proven myself, it was still a little bit difficult for some of my coworkers to accept. And a lot of that was because I am a female and also that I'm an African-American female. So that was a little, there was some apprehension and I felt a little tension sometimes sitting in the conference room. Even now, it's a pretty intimidating place to be, a large conference room and you're the only one who looks like you in there. So, you can lose some confidence if you're not careful. And then you just have to kind of remind yourself, I'm here for a reason. I know what I'm doing. So I think once you do that and you display that self-confidence, that those around you at some point just have to respect that, you deserve to be where you are.
That's so true. And that goes across the board for any position, not only with your position, but other African American females who maybe have a seat at the table and don't feel like, they're very well received. So you just have to feel confident, right? Just
You
never let
do.
them see you sweat,
You
right?
do. You have to have a lot of conversations with yourself. I remember, a lot of praise and worship on the way to work and on the way home from work, because, if you're not careful, you can let people convince you um, that you are who they think that you are. And, you have to remember where you came from and remember who you are in order to get yourself and your head, back where it needs to be. So I went through those moments.
Right. Wow. You know what? And I just know that it's blessing someone who is watching today because, like I said, we are talking about one position, but it does go for all other positions as well. So, being a female in basically a male dominated industry, tell us how many women are involved across the country in being a firefighter or in the fire department? Because I know there are a lot of different positions. So, yeah, how many percentage do you know?
Well, so as far as our the firefighters, the female firefighters, the average around the country is about 8%, and I'm very proud that Orange County Fire Department, our average is a little higher than the national average. So, and we continue to try to recruit females and also minorities to come into the department. What our goal is to make sure that our personnel mirror the communities that they serve. Because I think that those, the people within those communities will feel like they have a connection, with people who are coming into their home and rendering aid and service. And I think there's a certain level of comfort when there's somebody who looks like you and can
Right.
understand you and came from where you came from. So we really encourage that. We've really been putting an emphasis on not just bringing people in or going out and recruiting because we want them to mirror those neighborhoods, but a lot of our young boys and our young girls, they are not, they're not aware of some of those positions and where they are. They're not introduced to them or have any kind of exposure. So we're really trying to get out there and let them know that there are all of these careers out there that they can have, and there's someone there to help them.
That is so good. So even talk about some more positions that, you may not be the person out there with the hose and putting out the fire. But tell
Yeah,
us some more about some of the other positions.
absolutely, because
Fire.
there are, you see the fire trucks and you see the firefighters, but there is so much more that goes on in the background that makes that work. That's just the face. You have dispatchers. And I am actually the division chief over the communications center. So that's the 911 center, emergency call center for Orange County Fire Rescue, which is the second largest PSAP is what we call them. That's a public safety answering point, the second largest PSAP within Orange County. So that's under my leadership. And they're really your first responders. When you dial 911, that's who you are getting. And our operators are trained to give pre-arrival instructions so they can help you while the paramedics and engine EMTs are on the way. So we have the firefighters that we've spoken about, and you have paramedics, you have EMTs and the dispatchers. We also have fire inspectors. So there's so many jobs that are available out there. And, some people I think that you have to, especially our young kids, if they think about it at all, that like to be an inspector, that maybe you have to have been a firefighter or went to, take classes to be a firefighter. There are classes that you have to take, but you don't have to be a firefighter.
Okay. Wow. Okay. And so your information is on. I just thought about it when I looked down. I was going to say your information was on and the ticker wasn't on. So a nice reminder to turn on the ticker. But yeah, so if someone is interested, who's watching this broadcast, they can maybe hit you up on social media to ask any more questions.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely. And every time our department is posting a position, and it doesn't matter what that position is, I try to make sure that when our PIOs or our public information officer posts something on the county social or the department social, that I share that so that people will see it. And
that is so
we're the EMT program is very new for us. We've always had EMTs in the department, but you had to be a firefighter EMT or a communication specialist or a telecommunicator that was also an EMT. But now what we're doing, and this is something new and very exciting, is we're partnering with some of the high schools in the area that have the magnet programs that focus on public safety. And we're going out and we're talking with those kids, and we're actually bringing them in right out of high school to ride on our medic units, and drive for the paramedics. So
Oh, that's
very excited.
amazing. That is
Very
very
excited.
exciting. Wow. And so even with we have a lot of course ministries that watch our program as well. So just encouraging even to invite you all to come to their church and talk to their youth at their church is an amazing idea as
Oh,
well.
absolutely.
Thinking about job fairs or whatever. And you're always talking about college, or even trade, but there is other positions out there and other careers that are very interesting and can earn them very good money as well. So definitely make sure to even reach out, asking our pastors and leaders to invite you to even speak to their groups as well.
Oh, absolutely. And we also have a full-time recruiting section. So we would love to do that.
Oh, that is so good. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So, what I want to talk about now, I know, again, you're in an amazing position, and we just honor you so much for your accomplishments within being in the fire department, but you're also a breast cancer survivor.
Yes.
Yeah.
19 years this month.
19 years this
Yes.
month.
Yes.
Wow.
Just celebrated my 19th year of being a survivor. My mother actually passed away from breast cancer when I was a young child. And really that's my sister and I, it was my mom, myself and my sister, who's a little younger than I am. And that's all that we knew, because our mother was diagnosed at such a young age. She was not yet in her 20s when she was diagnosed.
Really? Oh,
So
wow.
as young kids going to doctors and, the surgeries that she had, that was just second nature to us. So right beyond my 11th birthday, and at my mom, just shy of her 30th birthday, she passed away. So I have always been one to go and make sure that I get my mammograms, and always stayed on top of that. That's something that my sister and I have always taken seriously. And of course, they would let us. Usually I think the age was like 40 when you could start, but because of our history, we did earlier. And I would go religiously, and I still do every year to get my mammogram. And between one year and the next, September is usually my month. I had discovered a lump, and I was 35 at the time. And they got me in a little bit early, and it was, we went through all of the phases of, making sure, doing the other mammograms and the diagnostics. And then I had about 3 or 4 surgeries, and I had to do chemo and radiation. But, by the grace of God, I am still here. And I think I'd mentioned to you at an earlier time that when I was diagnosed, my daughter was, just a little bit younger than I was when my mom passed away. So, that was something that really, I don't want to say bothered me, because through the entire thing, I just prayed and stayed, in the Word, because I was going to be alive for my daughter. I only had my daughter at the time, and this is I shared this story, and I'll try not to be too long, but so I had my daughter at that time, and my husband, I had just remarried about 2 years. No, it wasn't even 2 years. It was less time than that before I was diagnosed. And my husband and I had decided that following year, after we got married, that we would try to have another child, because he had never been married, and he didn't have any children. Well, I was diagnosed with cancer. And because it was so aggressive, they told us that we would not be able to have children, that, because of the process and all of the medications, that was, we would not be able to do that. And My son will be 16 this year. He is
Wow.
14 years younger than my daughter. And
Wow.
no one, including my doctors, were expecting me to be able to have him perfect, in every way. No ill effects from any of the procedures that I had. And I just know that that was all because that was a part of what was supposed to happen in my life. And, I didn't get sad and worn down and the why me and I did everything that he told me to do. And I just think that that's why I have my Gavin.
Wow, that is so good. And
Yeah.
so, one thing that you said that I just wanted to point out, I love that you said September is your month. So
Mhm.
September is your month every year to get your mammograms, all your females,
Mhm.
all the checkups in September. I
Yep.
love that you have a month.
Yep. I
You
picked him
know,
up.
most of us do it when we're like, okay, yeah, it's convenient right now and let me get this done. I know it's coming up, but we don't actually have a set month for that. So we're encouraging everybody watching today to have a month that is your month to get your mammograms, to get your females, to get all of your checkups done during that time. That is so good. But
Absolutely.
yeah, so even with your daughter, she has to get her mammograms. They're allowing her to get hers early as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. My sister, we're just that's something that we do not let slip away from us. It's, living that life and growing up without a mom. We were surrounded by so many wonderful people. We still are. And, we probably have more mothers than everybody is our mom. We were truly, it was a village, and, we still have so many people in our corner, but, there's nothing like your mom. And
Right.
so I want to make sure that, both of us make sure that we are around for our kids. And I want everyone else, that's listening to us to, do the same thing. Take care of yourself, because you can't take care of anyone else if you don't take care of yourself.
That's so true. Absolutely. Now, were you working at the time when you were going through your breast cancer treatments? Were you already in your career?
Yes, I was. So I was diagnosed. Oh, geez, I was diagnosed in 2002. Yeah, and I had been working for the department now since 1989. And I remember, I was determined I was going to beat this thing and I was going to work through it. And, I had all of my surgeries and returned back to work. And then as soon as they started the chemo, I had my first round and it's like, I'm going back to work. And I unfortunately, because of the type of environment that I work in and because my immune system was so low, I ended up getting ill and I had to take a leave of absence. So I took about a 6-month leave of absence so that I could get through everything. But came back stronger than ever. And the support that I had from my coworkers and the department as a whole was nothing less than amazing. So that was very helpful.
Oh, that is so good. And a lot of people don't have that type of support, not at home or at work. They'll say, "Oh, I feel bad. I feel sorry for you. Oh, I'm so sorry, but you're not going to be able to come in today."
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I do not take those blessings for granted. I mean, even my coworkers, every week, I knew that there was going to be something sent to my house. They were sending gifts, or they would send cards, or they would call. But yeah, it
That
makes a
is so
difference.
good.
It makes a
So,
difference.
yeah, so actually, we're encouraging people today who is watching today, and there is definitely someone in your life that's going through, if not breast cancer, they may be going through a different type of illness or some other type of cancer. But how important is that for you to be able for people to feel like you have that love and that support coming in? How important was that for you?
It was so important because I mean, there's a lot of the process that is very lonely. There are a lot of things that you go through that it's just you. No matter how many people are sitting in the waiting room or volunteering to take you to appointments, you have those moments when it's just you. And so when you're able to look out, you're not in a closed room or you're not during the radiation in a like a closed off, place by yourself and really having to think about what you're going through. When you walk out and see those faces, or you walk to your mailbox and their cards and, words of encouragement. I had one lady that I met during my radiation, because the way that it's scheduled, she finished about 2 weeks before I did. And she knew the day that I was going to finish. When I walked out, she was sitting in the waiting room with
Wow.
roses and,
Wow.
a big hug, and just congratulating me for having finished the process. So I sometimes I don't know if we realize, and myself included, how much when we make a kind gesture, how much that means to someone. It may not, we may feel like we're doing something small, or, it's no big deal. I'll never forget that for the rest of my life. And that's been, several years ago.
Wow. So
Yeah.
a card, something so simple as a card to you that, you could go in the grocery store and pick up a
Yeah.
card while you're shopping and just send that to somebody, that would definitely brighten up your day. So how important is it for that we need to let even those who are going through right now, going through um, cancer or breast cancer or some type of illness that they're dealing with, how important is it to them? How do they express what they need to others? Because I know going through that, it has to be lonely and everybody does not understand. So how can they express what they want? Because something may get on their nerves. If it's like me, a lot of attention, I don't really like a lot of
Yeah.
attention, so how do you express yourself to people about, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, in a kind way?
Yeah. And fortunately, if people, your friends, the ones who are really going to do that for you anyway, they know you. They knew you before you were going through this. So you usually don't have to tell them, hey, calm down. They pretty much know. But one of the things that I did find with the question that you asked, when I was going through my treatments, and when this journey first started, because it was quick. I mean, when the doctor diagnosed me and my husband and I went in to talk with them, they were telling us, because, I'd done all of my research, just like the rest of us. When we find out something's wrong, we, go to the internet. So that can be, a blessing and a curse. So I went in, with all of these questions, and, let's do this, let's do that. And he's like, I remember the doctor like putting his hand on my shoulders, and I've done all of that. It's like, you can calm down. I'm the doctor. I've taken care of it. But with all of that, and with the speed of everything, it was so nice to find out how many organizations there are out there. And I don't mean, what we see. Like, I'm a volunteer for the Florida Breast Cancer Foundation. We see those organizations out there, but there are people who have been through, like myself, that form groups, and they make themselves available to you 24 hours a day.
Wow.
So
Wow.
if you're feeling something that maybe only someone who has gone through it is feeling, they encourage you to call them anytime, day or night,
That's
because
important.
when you're talking to them, they know what you're talking about. They get it. When you say, this is happening to me, or I'm experiencing that, did you? Or and they can understand it. And during that process, I also found that there, for the spouses or the caregivers, there are people that will also lend themselves
Wow, that's
to be
good.
contacted, because my husband, he was going through his own, he's trying to help me, but I'm sure he had some feelings and concerns that he couldn't really discuss with me, because he doesn't want to, add anything else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, and then there's, he has best friends, but their wives aren't going through, so they don't really understand. So there are people out there that will offer themselves. And I just thought it was amazing. I thought it was absolutely amazing, that the networks that are out there.
Okay, so just encouraging everyone to go on Facebook. You can even Google it as well to find out groups in your area, for pretty much any type of support that you
Yeah.
need. So if you're going through, not only if you're going through any cancers, if you're going through illnesses, if you're going through grief, even with that, it's a lot of groups out there that can help you. And so I love the fact that you said that it's just, I mean, I've heard of them, but I never had to use a group before. But
Mhm.
just to know that people are available 24/7 for you, who truly understand and who truly care about what you're going through. I love that. That is so wonderful.
Yeah, I thought it was very amazing. And, and I've always said to others, and you have my information on the screen, that I make myself available if someone wants to talk about something, that I have gone through or they're going through and they just want a listening ear. I'm dedicated to making myself available to anyone.
Right. And it's so weird that you were doing we were at a fair, a fair at a church, I think it was.
Mhm.
And you were actually volunteering with the Breast Cancer Association of Central Florida. And that's how we met. We just instantly clicked. We did a selfie, and it was all she wrote. We were
Listen.
that selfie, guys, always is a and so, but we only have a couple minutes left. I want you to encourage, just take maybe 30 seconds to a minute to encourage anyone dealing with breast cancer and to just hang in there and to go forth.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and things happen in life, and everyone knows that. I mean, if you've lived, you know that things can change in a moment, but don't let yourself stay in a place. You're going to be sad. That's normal if something happens, but don't stay there. Encourage yourself. You may have others in your corner that are encouraging you, but you have to encourage yourself. You have to believe in you, and you have to believe that God has made promises, and He is good for every promise that He has made. So I heard a pastor say once, "Don't let your behavior contradict your belief." And that stuck with me. I thought, that is so true. It's true with your health and with your mental health. It's true with your profession. You encourage yourself and know that you're worthy, and you know your own worth. There is nothing that you can't do. There's nothing you can't survive, and there's nothing that you cannot achieve.
That is so good. And then I'm going to keep it up to get you to encourage our up and coming fire department. Not only firefighters, but upcoming fire, the women coming into the business,
Yes.
to encourage them. And again, 30 seconds.
And I don't know that, because my niece wanted to be a firefighter. And I remember my sister saying, "I don't want her to be a firefighter." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So sometimes I think that we still have that stigma, and it's like, women aren't supposed to be firefighters. Women make the best firefighters. And, they're out there, they're on the trucks, they're out there leading the crews, they're company officers. So I encourage all of my young females to think about it. It's an amazing career, and I will help you in any way possible. So,
And I love that she says she'll help you in any way. Yeah.
absolutely.
So I know we have so many more things that we could talk about, but our time is ticking. But again, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to hang out with us right here on Conversations with Dr. Harriet. I know that you have definitely blessed someone around the world who is watching today, and also want to make sure they know they can go to to look you up on social media and invite you up. Please invite her to your church, not only to speak on a career in the fire department or even breast cancer awareness. She's an amazing speaker. So invite her to your conference to speak at your conference or events, and she'd be more than happy to do that as well. So thank you again. I just appreciate you. I just speak blessings over your life. I know this is the beginning for you. This is only the beginning. God has so much more in store for you. And we're just so happy to be a part of it and to be along for the ride as well. So will you come back again at your earliest convenience?
Absolutely. And I just want to, before our time runs out, thank you so very much for having me. And this is truly a blessing. So thank you for thinking of me, and thinking enough of me to have me on your program. So I am honored.
Oh, absolutely. And if you want to go to my page, we did at the beginning of the month. That was pretty much the only woman that I got a chance to really highlight was Kimberly Stewart-Horan, because I just loved her story and what she was doing. And so if you want to even more information, you can go to my page and just scroll down till you get to that. So we love that. So again, thank you so much. We appreciate you and speak blessings over your life. Remember,
Thank,
today happens only once. So make it amazing. Have a wonderful day. And thank you for tuning in.
thank you.
Bye.